Hello, my name is Abdul Mohamud, and I'm joined by Robin Whitburn.
Hi.
We are going to be talking to you about two figures from our latest textbook, Black Lives in Britain, 1500 to the present day, Key Stage 3 history textbook, which looks at the lives and the stories of a range of people of African descent who at one point made Britain their home. In our first video, we talked to you about two interesting figures from our book whose lives centered around the Second World War. Today, to salute our sisters, which is the theme of this year's Black History Month, we're going to be talking to you about another two sort of key individuals who had a remarkable impact on the history of Black people in Britain in a very narrow sense, but on the history of Britain more broadly.
And the women that we're looking at here feature in two of our site studies of the mid 20th century. One, the woman on the right, is Carmen Beckford. She features in the Bristol site study to do with the work of the Black community in St Paul's in Bristol. The woman next to her, on her left there, is Olive Morris, and on Olive's left is Althea Jones LeQuant, and finally on the far left is Claudia Jones. And Claudia, Althea and Olive all appear in our Brixton site study, and they're all connected with the building of community activism and political Black activism in the mid 20th century. And we've each chosen one of the four women to give you a little taster of. And my choice in saluting the sisters is Claudia Jones. And see, Claudia Jones, principally people know her as the godmother of Carnival, and she definitely played a part in the origins of Carnival because she organized indoor events between 1959 and 1964 to celebrate Caribbean culture. But Claudia is so much more than just a Carnival celebration organizer. Claudia is a very radical activist, and the reason that she ended up in Britain as opposed to the United States, which is where she spent probably half her life in America, was because she got deported from there because of her radical views. In fact, she was tied to the American Communist Party. When she comes over to England, she immediately takes up the causes of the Black community in Britain, particularly those who've been affected by racism in the Notting Hill area in the riots of 1958, but also just the Black community more widely. And in terms of her major contribution, it would be through the newspaper that she organized, that she edited and published, the West Indian Gazette. And despite major financial challenges and difficulties, she managed to get this newspaper out into the community. And the offices for that were in Brixton. So she chose to locate the West Indian Gazette right in the heart of probably the most significant Black British community at the time, where there was Notting Hill, and there were other places around the country, Nottingham, Liverpool, but Brixton was, in some sense, as Rob Waters says, the capital of Black Britain. And Claudia was there up until 1964, publishing the West India Gazette. I salute Claudia Jones, and Abdul, you salute.
Well, I salute Claudia Jones, certainly, and I'm also going to speak for the late great Olive Morris. Olive Morris, she was born in 1952 in Jamaica, and she came to Britain 9 years later, so that would be 61, making her part of the Windrush generation. she grew up, in Brixton, in the South London area, and she came to really embody the energy that was buzzing in that part of in London. As you said, it came to be seen as the capital of Black Britain, and people like Olive Morris really lent that its credence, and that's because she was involved in a number of political and social activities. She's known sort of as the Queen of Resistance, and she wasn't what we would call, she wasn't an agitator. She was somebody who fervently challenged injustice where she saw it. And this began when she was just a teenager. She witnessed the assault of a Nigerian diplomat, an unlawful breach of his rights by the local police, and she intervened. She was arrested. The experiences that she had in prison sort of made it clear to her that she couldn't turn her face, from the injustices that were being meted out to people from minority backgrounds in London at the time. She becomes one of the sort of early members of the youth wing of the British Black Panthers. She organizes with Asian women. She is a sort of leading squatter, somebody who tries to find accommodation for people and also finds accommodation for herself in the process, and she's heavily involved in establishing adult learning sort of centers and libraries, etc., to educate people around her so that they could be at the heart of the struggle that she saw needed to be overcome. So Olive Morris, the wonderful woman, an inspiration for people young and old. So this Black History Month, I salute Olive Morris.
Brilliant. And so much more in the book particularly about Olive Morris. Hope you all enjoy reading it. Thank you.